In Mesopotamia, the ziggurats stood majestically, like staircases to the heavens, serving not only as religious centers, but also as symbols of humanity's aspiration towards the divine. These stepped structures, some of which reached 90 meters in height, were built from fired clay bricks, faced with glazed tiles, which gave them a unique beauty and durability. For instance, the ziggurat in Ur, constructed around the 20th century BCE, was one of the most renowned. Its design allowed it to dominate the surrounding landscape, and from the upper platform, one could enjoy a breathtaking view of the city, where people seemed like ants, and the bustling streets appeared as writhing streams. At sunset, the long shadows cast by the ziggurat created an atmosphere of mystery and grandeur, emphasizing its monumental scale. Various theories exist regarding the purpose of these structures. Some scholars believe that ziggurats were temples for worshipping gods, while others suggest they served as astronomical observatories, enabling priests to observe the movements of celestial bodies. Another theory proposes that ziggurats were used as shelters during floods, as their height provided protection from the elements. Yet another theory posits that ziggurats were symbols of the cosmic mountain, connecting earth and heaven, reflecting ancient beliefs about the cosmos. Ascending the monumental staircases, one felt a sense of approaching the heavens, as if each step brought one closer to the divine. The distinctive stepped forms of ziggurats created a unique visual effect, making them not only architectural marvels, but also significant cultural symbols reflecting the worldview of ancient Mesopotamians. These structures were not only places for sacrifices and rituals, but also centers of social and economic life, as the infrastructure of cities developed around them. Complex drainage and water supply systems, essential for maintaining life in this hot climate, were often protected by ziggurats. Considering all these aspects, it becomes clear that ziggurats were much more than just religious buildings. They embodied the vitality, culture, and aspirations of the entire nation. The Sphinx, guardian of ancient Egyptian mysteries, seems to gaze at us from the ages, its silent grandeur making us ponder whether it is much older than we believe. According to some geologists, erosion marks on the Sphinx's body indicate the influence of water, which could only have occurred during prolonged periods of rain, characteristic of the region more than 10,000 years ago. This theory is based on the analysis of cracks and weathering in the stone that forms the Sphinx's body. If we accept this theory, we not only obtain an earlier date for the construction of the Sphinx itself, but also the possibility of a civilization capable of creating such a structure in conditions where the climate was entirely different. The astronomical alignment of the Sphinx with the constellation Leo also leads to interesting conclusions. Around 10,500 years before our era, the Sphinx could have been oriented towards this constellation, indicating a high level of astronomical knowledge among its creators. Against the backdrop of a setting sun, playing on the weathered stone, one can sense the atmosphere of antiquity and grandeur. The face of the Sphinx, framed by shadows, seems to hold the secrets of bygone eras, evoking awe and questions about who built this monumental structure. The Sphinx's gaze, full of riddles, becomes a symbol of loss and oblivion, but also of humanity's eternal quest for knowledge. There are other theories as well. For example, researcher Robert Schoch, a geologist from Boston University, proposed the hypothesis that the Sphinx was built during a period when the region's climate was more humid and rainy, which could have occurred at the end of the last ice age. This hypothesis is based on observations of erosion, which, in his opinion, can only be explained by the influence of water. From an archaeological perspective, this raises many questions about the time when the Great Pyramid, located nearby, was built, and the role the Sphinx played in the culture of ancient Egypt. The Sphinx, with its silent grandeur, evokes thoughts of unsolved mysteries hidden in its form, which could change our understanding of history. From an astronomical standpoint, this fact makes us consider the high level of knowledge of the ancient Egyptians in the field of observing stars and their movements, which in turn raises questions about the connection between astronomy and religion in ancient Egypt. These aspects make the Sphinx not just an architectural monument, but a symbol of cultural heritage that continues to evoke interest and controversy among scientists and researchers. There is a belief that its creation could be linked to myths about divine beings, adding another layer to its mystery. In its silent presence, the Sphinx remains a question to which humanity is seeking answers, and its history may not yet be complete. Scientific research continues, and perhaps in the future, we will be able to unravel at least some of the mysteries it holds. The height of the Sphinx is approximately 20 meters, and its length reaches 46 meters, making it one of the most monumental structures of antiquity. The complexity of its construction and the precision of its proportions inspire awe, and it is not surprising that it has become a symbol of Egypt and one of the main attractions of the world. On the slopes of the Atacama Desert's hills, one of the driest places on Earth, lies a colossal anthropomorphic geoglyph known as the Giant of Atacama. This striking image reaches a height of approximately 199 meters and is more than just an artistic expression of ancient people. The geoglyph was created by removing the top layer of soil, exposing darker stones beneath, which creates a contrast with the bright light background of the desert. Archaeologists estimate its age to be around 1,000 years before our era, making it a testament to a highly developed culture that inhabited this harsh climate. There are several theories about the purpose of the Giant of Atacama. Some researchers suggest that it could have served as an astronomical marker, indicating significant astronomical events such as equinoxes and solstices. Others believe that the image is related to a deity responsible for fertility and served as a ritual site for ancient inhabitants seeking blessings for their harvest. There is also a hypothesis that this giant could have indicated the presence of fresh water, which was critically important for survival in the desert environment. The scorching air of Atacama creates an atmosphere where every element seems to be part of an ancient message left for those who can see it from above. The dark lines of the figure stand out sharply against the light earth, giving a sense of mystery and grandeur. In essence, the Giant of Atacama is not just an image, but a symbol of an ancient culture that left its mark on history. This geoglyph has become a subject of study for many researchers, among whom archaeologist Diego Castro stands out, who conducted a series of studies in 2005 aimed at a deeper understanding of its significance and context. Deep beneath the earth of Cappadocia lie colossal subterranean cities capable of housing thousands of people and boasting an incredibly complex infrastructure. Some of these cities extend to depths of up to 20 levels, making them among the largest underground complexes in the world. Cities such as Derinkuyu and Kaimakli are true engineering marvels, with ventilation shafts providing fresh air and maintaining an optimal climate for life underground. Walls carved into soft volcanic tuff create a unique acoustics. Footsteps echo softly, while the sound of water from wells adds a sense of mystery. Stone doors, which could be locked from the inside, served both to protect against enemies and to safeguard against natural disasters. Various theories exist about the purpose of these subterranean cities. Some scholars suggest they served as shelters for the local population during wartime and raids. Others propose they were used for wine production and storage, as some underground chambers show signs of winemaking. There are also hypotheses about their religious functions, where secret rituals may have taken place. The cool air of the underground creates a sense of protection from the outside world, while the flickering light of torches on the tough walls adds a special atmosphere. These urban complexes are not only impressive in size, but also demonstrate the high level of organization of ancient peoples who could adapt and survive in challenging conditions. Notably, some subterranean cities have storage rooms for food, indicating that residents could spend extended periods there. Artfully designed tunnels connect various levels and zones, allowing for quick movement between them. Each level had its own function, from living spaces to storage areas and even gathering places. Cappadocia, therefore, is not just a geographical region, but a whole chapter of history, where subterranean cities symbolize human survival and adaptation. Imagine Stonehenge, this enigmatic megalithic complex in England, which continues to inspire awe and questions. The first stones were erected around 5,000 years ago, and researchers still debate its purpose and construction methods. One of the most widespread myths is that it was an observatory designed for astronomical observations. Indeed, the stones are positioned in such a way that on the days of the solstices, sunlight passes through their gaps, creating unique light effects. For example, on the summer solstice, the rising sun passes through the main entrance arch, creating an incredible sight. However, apart from its astronomical significance, Stonehenge may also have served as a ritual center where ceremonies related to life and death were conducted. Some researchers suggest that it was a place of healing, where people sought help from ancestral spirits. It is remarkable that each stone can weigh up to 50 tons, and they were transported from distances of up to 240 kilometers. How the ancient people managed this task remains a mystery. There are theories that they used a system of wooden sledges and lubricated the stones with wet earth to facilitate their movement. This required immense effort and collective labor, making one wonder about the complexity of society at that time. When the wind passes between the stones, it produces a special sound, creating an atmosphere of mystery, and the coolness from the ancient boulders immerses us in a sense of time long past. Each stone, like a guardian of secrets, tells its own story, and the sunlight filtering through them adds magical notes to this ancient landscape. Scientific research continues to advance, but it can be confidently said that Stonehenge is not only an architectural marvel, but also a significant monument that reflects the complex aspects of human culture and spirituality. The study of this unique complex continues, and each new discovery by archaeologists opens new horizons in understanding its true purpose. The Great Sphinx of Giza, this magnificent monument, stands majestically on the Giza Plateau, attracting the attention and admiration of travelers and historians for centuries. Its length is 73 meters, and its height reaches 20 meters, making it one of the largest stone monuments in the world. The Sphinx is carved from a single block of limestone, quarried from nearby quarries, and its construction, according to estimates, dates back to the time of Pharaoh Khafra, around 2,500 years before our era. This period coincides with the flourishing of ancient Egyptian civilization, when architecture and art reached unparalleled heights. Debates about the function of the Sphinx continue to this day. Some scholars consider it a guardian of the necropolis, protecting the tombs of pharaohs, while others believe it symbolizes a solar deity, and some researchers suggest it served as an astronomical marker indicating significant celestial events. In mythology, there is a legend about the sleep of Tutmosis, according to which Pharaoh Tutmosis IV, walking on the plateau, saw the Sphinx buried under the sand. He decided to free it from the sand's captivity, and according to the legend, this brought him the crown and the blessing of the gods. Modern researchers also pay attention to possible secret chambers hidden under the Sphinx's paws, which may contain unsolved mysteries of ancient Egypt. The weathered stone of the Sphinx, pierced by time, creates an impression of antiquity, and when the sun's rays touch its face, they play with light and shadow, emphasizing its expressive features and adding to its mystery at different times of the day. In the morning, its face is illuminated by soft light, while in the evening, as the sun sets on the horizon, the Sphinx appears almost mystical in its shadows, creating an atmosphere filled with mystery and the grandeur of the ancient world. The size and construction of this monument make it not only an architectural marvel, but also a symbol of endurance and constancy, testifying to the immortality of ancient traditions and beliefs. The ancient Egyptians created one of the most mysterious and significant texts in human history, the Book of the Dead. This collection of spells and instructions was intended to help the souls of the deceased overcome the dangers of Duat, the afterlife, and reach the field of reeds, where eternal life and happiness reigned. The book consisted of numerous fragments that could vary depending on the specific needs of the deceased. One of the most famous rituals described in the book is the weighing of the heart. In this trial, the soul of the deceased was placed on a scale where one feather, symbolizing truth and justice, was balanced against the heart of the deceased. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the soul could enter paradise, but if not, it faced dire consequences, such as being devoured by the demon Amit. This process, which took place in the Hall of Maat, symbolized the idea of moral responsibility and the necessity of living righteously. The journey through the afterlife was filled with trials, such as encounters with evil spirits, crossing rivers, and overcoming various traps. Each spell in the Book of the Dead served as a kind of guide, helping the soul overcome these obstacles. The Egyptians believed that mummification was the key to preserving the body for eternal life. The process was complex and laborious, involving the removal of internal organs and their storage in canopic jars, as well as the use of sodium and embalming oils to prevent decomposition. The body was placed in a sarcophagus, which was believed to protect it from grave robbers and evil forces. Various items were placed in the tombs, from jewelry and statuettes to food and drinks that might be needed in the afterlife. Funeral rites were a true spectacle. Priests in ritual garments recited spells, and the flickering of torches illuminated the dark burial chambers. The ancient Egyptians sincerely believed that life after death was a continuation of existence, in which they would enjoy the fruits of their efforts and virtues. The Book of the Dead became not just a text, but a true amulet, capable of protecting the soul on its journey to eternity. Each copy was unique and individually selected to match the life and needs of a specific person. In the 3rd century BC, the book began to spread among the common people, making it accessible not only to the nobility, but also to ordinary Egyptians. Strange coincidences with the deaths of researchers who discovered the tombs of ancient pharaohs gave rise to the legend of the Curse of the Pharaohs, which continues to captivate people's minds. The most famous case is associated with Lord Carnarvon, who in 1922 became one of the first to open the tomb of Tutankhamun in the Valley of the Kings. Soon after, he died from a septic shock caused by a mosquito bite, which sparked enormous public interest. Carnarvon's death was particularly mystified because it coincided with numerous other tragic events related to the tomb's discovery, such as the death of his personal doctor and other expedition members. All these incidents became the basis for numerous rumors that the spirit of Tutankhamun was avenging those who disturbed his rest. The atmosphere in the ancient burial chambers is indeed eerie. The musty air filled with the scent of moisture and decay, the dim light of torches illuminating hieroglyphic warnings on the walls, creates a sense of unease and unknown fear. Some researchers attribute these curses to more mundane explanations. For instance, toxic mold fungi are often found in tombs, which can cause serious illnesses and bacteria that can lead to death. Psychosomatic effects also play a role. Fear of the unknown and the mystical can cause real physical ailments in people who enter such places. For example, a group of researchers who visited the tomb experienced mass hysteria, resulting in headaches and panic attacks. Many of these events were meticulously documented, including not only physical sufferings, but also psychological disorders resulting from stress and fear of ancient mysteries. Thus, the atmospheric conditions in the tombs, the combination of fear and expectation, give rise not only to physical illnesses, but also to deep emotional experiences that can be more dangerous than they think. Historians and scientists continue to discuss these phenomena, trying to find rational explanations for what happens in these sacred places. Regardless, the fact that many researchers encounter serious problems after opening tombs continues to influence our perception of ancient Egypt and its mysteries. There are numerous records of how researchers, such as American archaeologist Howard Carter, who discovered Tutankhamun's tomb, faced difficulties and losses, although Carter himself fortunately lived to old age. There are myths that sacred places guard their secrets, and those who dare to disturb them face consequences. In pharaohs' tombs, such as that of Ramses II, one can find no less than 60 tons of gold and numerous artifacts that continue to puzzle scientists. Studying these ancient burials, we learn not only about the pharaohs themselves, but also about their attitudes towards life and death, and how their culture continues to influence modern concepts of the afterlife. Pharaohs left behind not only monuments and artifacts, but also an entire mythology that continues to live in our consciousness, making us believe in something greater than just material existence. It is hard to imagine, but the construction of the Egyptian pyramids remains one of the greatest mysteries of history. The Pyramid of Khufu, the largest of them all, reaches a height of 146 meters and is composed of more than 2 million stone blocks, each weighing up to 80 tons. The complexity lies not only in the sheer number of blocks, but also in their precise fitting. Gaps between them are less than 1 millimeter. How was this possible? One of the most widely discussed theories suggests that builders used ramps to lift the heavy blocks to the required height. Archaeologists believe these ramps could have been up to 400 meters long and had a slope of just a few degrees. However, this is just one of the versions. Other researchers propose the use of lever systems, or even waterways, which, in theory, could have facilitated the transportation of stones from quarries located up to 80 kilometers away from the construction site. When thousands of workers, under the scorching sun of the desert, were lifting and placing these giant blocks, the air was filled with the sounds of stones rubbing against stones, the creaking of wooden rollers, and the cries of labor. The smell of freshly quarried limestone mixed with the sweat running down the workers' foreheads, while the shadows cast by the pyramids at sunset created an illusion of grandeur and magic surrounding this process. Remarkably, despite all modern technologies, many aspects of the pyramid construction remain unexplained, keeping the interest in the ancient Egyptian civilization and its achievements alive. The Pyramid of Khufu, built around 2,500 years before our era, is the only one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world that has survived to this day. In the highlands of Bolivia lies the enigmatic site of Pumapunku, where stone blocks are so precisely cut that their connections seem impossible to comprehend for a modern person. These blocks, some weighing up to 800 tons, have perfectly smooth surfaces and exact right angles, which cause bewilderment. Made from extremely hard materials such as andesite and granite, they present a true puzzle for contemporary builders, as even with modern tools, their processing requires significant effort. There are no written records in Pumapunku that explain who and how these magnificent structures were built, adding to the site's mystery. Metal clamps used to join the blocks further emphasize the skill of ancient engineers, as they fit perfectly into the overall structure, providing stability and durability. Against the backdrop of thin mountain air and almost mystical ruins, the contrast between the rough surrounding landscape and the incredible precision of the stonework creates a unique atmosphere. Each of these structures appears as if created not by humans, but by gods possessing secret knowledge of construction and stonework. For example, in a place called Carved Stone, one can see intricate carvings that seem impossible without advanced technology. Pumapunku is not just an architectural marvel, but a symbol of ancient wisdom and inexplicable power that continues to inspire awe and questions among scientists and tourists. Scientific research conducted in the 20th century suggests that such stoneworking methods could have involved mechanical means, but it remains unclear exactly how ancient builders achieved such precision. Research indicates that the technology of stonework in this region could have been more advanced than previously thought, challenging traditional notions of the development of civilizations in South America. 80% of the blocks in Pumapunku were cut and installed with such precision that not even a knife blade can be inserted between them, indicating a high level of engineering skill. This precision, combined with the lack of clear historical records, makes Pumapunku a place that continues to attract attention and spark debate among archaeologists and historians. Each stone block, each detail of this ancient construction serves as a reminder that human history is filled with many unsolved mysteries and riddles waiting to be deciphered. Over the course of millennia, humanity has created myths and legends about encounters with beings possessing extraordinary abilities and technologies. The theory of paleocontact, which posits ancient meetings with extraterrestrial civilizations, attracts both proponents and skeptics. One of the first proofs of this theory are petroglyphs found in various corners of the planet, depicting figures resembling modern astronauts. For example, in Australia, there are images of ancient people depicted in spacesuits, raising questions about whether they could have observed extraterrestrials. In Indian Vedic texts, there are mentions of vimanas, flying machines described as fast and maneuverable, which could suggest the existence of advanced technologies in ancient times. Similarly, in Mayan culture, there are images of figures resembling astronauts, which could serve as evidence of contact with highly advanced civilizations. On medieval frescoes in Europe, there are also depictions that can be interpreted as flying saucers, strange objects hovering in the sky, adding another layer of mystery to this topic. Proponents of the paleocontact theory point to the sudden appearance of complex technologies among ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians, who built pyramids using methods and tools that are still not fully understood. They argue that such achievements could only have been possible with knowledge obtained from external sources. However, the scientific community is cautious about these claims, asserting that such discoveries can be explained by the natural development of human civilization and the exchange of knowledge between cultures. Ancient people likely perceived encounters with beings using advanced technologies as divine intervention or a manifestation of power. Unfamiliar devices and strange beings evoked both awe and fear in them. For instance, when books describe meetings with gods descending from the heavens, this can be interpreted as an attempt to understand and explain the unknown through the prism of available knowledge. Myths about celestial travelers and cosmic gods are a constant presence in the culture of most peoples, from the Sumerians to the Aztecs. An important aspect is that such narratives not only reflect the fears or hopes of ancient people, but may also be connected to real events, perhaps observations of celestial phenomena or even real visits by extraterrestrial civilizations. Comparing these various evidence, we encounter numerous questions about how ancient peoples could perceive and interpret their encounters with beings possessing technologies beyond their reach. These mysteries continue to intrigue and spark debate among researchers and history enthusiasts. Scientific research on this topic has been ongoing for a long time, but none of it has provided definitive answers to the question of possible ancient contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations. Approximately 40,000 years ago, a genuine cultural revolution took place in Europe. The Cro-Magnons, people of modern type, began creating art that could impress even the most discerning contemporary artists. Archaeological finds show that these early Homo sapiens possessed high levels of creative abilities and technical skills, challenging existing notions about the development of human culture. In caves such as Lascaux in France and Altamira in Spain, realistic cave paintings were discovered, depicting animals, hunting scenes, and ritualistic events. These works of art were executed with remarkable skill. Each line and color conveys the dynamism of movement and the character of animals like bison and mammoths. The Cro-Magnons not only painted, but also created sculptures from stone and bone, such as the famous Venus of Willendorf, which likely had a cult significance. Their repertoire also included musical instruments like flutes made from bird bones, found in the same caves as the paintings. These instruments produced sounds that could resonate in the darkness of the caves, filling the space with melodies and creating an atmosphere conducive to rituals and communal gatherings. The Cro-Magnons also invented needles with eyes, harpoons, and atlatls, devices for throwing spears, significantly enhancing their hunting capabilities. It is intriguing that these achievements have no apparent predecessors. Where were their ancestors who could have passed down such skills? It is difficult to imagine how people living in such conditions could master such complex technologies and artistic techniques. In caves lit by flickering light from primitive lamps, their hands traced the damp walls, leaving red and black traces that may have served not only for decoration, but also for conveying messages, rituals, or even for establishing a connection with spirits. Each touch on the wall is not just art, but a part of ancient history that continues to captivate the minds of modern researchers. The Cro-Magnons left behind not only extraordinary works of art, but also a mystery that continues to puzzle scientists. Findings in caves like Lascaux date back to around the 16th millennium BCE. These artifacts serve as keys to understanding how human culture evolved. Imagine ancient cities where water supply and sewage systems were an integral part of daily life. Roman aqueducts, for instance, were not just engineering marvels, but true wonders of the ancient world, capable of transporting water over distances of up to 100 kilometers. These monumental structures, built between the 3rd century BC and the 1st century AD, used gravity and precisely calculated slopes to ensure a constant supply of clean water to cities like Rome, where the population reached 1 million people. Aqueducts, such as the Pont du Gard, were adorned with arches and served both practical and aesthetic purposes. In Mohenjo-Daro, located in the Indus Valley and dating back to the 3rd millennium BC, archaeologists discovered a complex sewage system that included separate drains for each house. These drains were meticulously planned and constructed from fired bricks, creating an efficient drainage system where wastewater was channeled into main drains that then connected to the river. The cleanliness and order in this city are still astonishing today, as the water supply and sewage systems functioned flawlessly, providing residents with water and removing waste. The Minoan civilization, known for its advanced engineering solutions, was no exception. In Knossos, for example, water pipes made of terracotta were found, delivering water to homes and public baths. These systems allowed residents to use flush toilets, which was a true marvel of the time. In Roman public baths like the famous Thermae of Caracalla, water flowed in marble pools, creating a cozy and comfortable atmosphere. Here, people could not only bathe, but also socialize, relax, and spend time with friends. The echo in the vaulted rooms of the baths reminded of Rome's grandeur, while the coolness of the underground cisterns provided the necessary temperature for storing water. The contrast between the clean running water and the dusty streets of ancient cities underscored the level of development of these civilizations, as they not only built magnificent buildings, but also cared for the health of their citizens. Aqueducts, sewage systems, and water pipes became not only symbols of engineering genius, but also the foundation for the formation of cities where life thrived, and water played a key role in this process. In Colombia, archaeologists have discovered mysterious golden figurines that raise many questions. These small items, created by the Quimbaya culture around the 1st millennium AD, feature triangular wings, vertical stabilizers, and a shape reminiscent of the fuselage of a modern airplane. Crafted from gold, they possess a unique luster under museum lighting. The ancient Quimbaya jewelers demonstrated remarkable skill, creating elegant lines and forms that contrast with the primitive technologies of their time. When researchers created scale models based on these artifacts, they found that they could be aerodynamically stable, raising the question of whether ancient people understood the principles of flight. Interpretations of these figurines range from theories about the existence of ancient flying machines to suggestions that they might be stylized depictions of birds or insects. Some researchers believe these objects were used for ritual purposes, while others see them as symbols of power or divinity in Kimbaya culture. In museums where these golden airplanes are housed, visitors can admire their beauty and feel the mystical atmosphere that permeates every detail. Despite their small size, these artifacts open doors to a world of mysteries that remain unexplored. Several such figurines can be seen in museum collections, each one not just a work of art, but a testament to advanced technology and deep knowledge of ancient culture. For example, one such figurine found near the city of Tunja is about 5 centimeters long and weighs around 20 grams, making it one of the lightest and most delicate among the finds. These objects spark numerous debates among historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts of ancient artifacts, each eager to unravel the mystery of their purpose and meaning. Legend has it that the hanging gardens of Semiramis in ancient Babylon were so beautiful that they were compared to a paradise on earth. These gardens, supposedly built in the 6th century BC at the command of King Nebuchadnezzar II for his wife Amytis, were said to be complex terraces supported by massive columns. Each terrace, according to descriptions by ancient Greek historians, could reach heights of up to 20 meters and was covered with dense vegetation. The gardens were designed to create the illusion of a green oasis in the heart of the desert city of Babylon. An intricate irrigation system was used to bring water from the Euphrates River through special channels and pumps, ensuring constant moisture for the plants. However, archaeologists have yet to find definitive remains of these remarkable gardens, which has led to ongoing debates about their actual existence. Some researchers suggest that the gardens may have been a literary invention inspired by other famous gardens of the time, such as Assyrian or Persian ones. Ancient authors often mention the scent of exotic plants, the sound of water in the channels, and the cool shade of the tree-lined avenues, creating a contrast with the hot climate of Mesopotamia. Surrounding the gardens were flowering trees and shrubs that created a sense of freshness and coziness, while the desert surrounding Babylon baked under the scorching sun. The gardens were likely adorned with rare flowers and fruit trees such as pomegranates and lemons, which not only delighted the eye, but also filled the air with a sweet fragrance. Despite numerous studies and excavations, no mention of the hanging gardens of Semiramis has been confirmed by archaeological finds, making their existence one of the most intriguing myths of antiquity. The description of the gardens, it seems, set a trend for creating green oases in cities, inspiring many rulers and architects throughout the centuries. The most famous references to the gardens can be found in the works of historians such as Strabo and Flavius Josephus, who left detailed descriptions filled with poetic imagery and enthusiastic praise. It is believed that the architecture of the gardens could have influenced the subsequent development of gardening and landscape design in various cultures. There is a belief that such gardens may have indeed existed in the heart of Babylon, but they may have looked different from their descriptions in ancient texts. The exact location of the presumed gardens continues to be a subject of dispute among historians and archaeologists, adding another layer of mystery to this wonder of the ancient world. Imagine a stele carved from black basalt. It has become the key to understanding ancient Egyptian culture and history. This is the Rosetta Stone, discovered in 1799 by French soldiers during Napoleon's Egyptian campaign. The stone measures approximately 37 centimeters in height, 12 in width, and 8 in thickness. Its surface is inscribed with 3 texts in different languages. The top text is in hieroglyphs, the middle one in Demotic script, and the bottom one in ancient Greek. This unique composition allowed scholars to begin deciphering Egyptian hieroglyphs. In 1822, Jean-François Champollion, a French linguist, after years of research and comparisons, finally deciphered the hieroglyphs, using the Greek text as a key. He realized that hieroglyphs represent not only images, but also sounds and combinations of sounds, which fundamentally changed the approach to studying ancient Egypt. Thanks to this breakthrough, doors opened to understanding not only the language, but also the culture, religion, literature, and daily life of the ancient Egyptians. Champollion emphasized that hieroglyphs are used to record both phonetic and ideographic information, laying the foundation for further research. As a result, tens of thousands of new texts were discovered, revealing secrets about pharaohs, gods, and customs that were previously inaccessible. These texts opened new horizons in understanding ancient Egyptian philosophy and religion, as well as political and social issues. The stele itself is impressive. The rough surface of the basalt contrasts with the clear lines of the hieroglyphs, creating a sense of touching history. Around the stone, discussions, debates, and searches for new meanings unfold. It has become a symbol not only of linguistic, but also cultural rebirth. Today, the Rosetta Stone is housed in the British Museum, and its significance continues to grow as researchers strive to uncover more of its mysteries. Once upon a time in the harbor of Rhodes stood the Colossus, a giant statue symbolizing power and grandeur. This bronze figure, approximately 33 meters tall, depicted the sun god Helios, the patron of the island. The Colossus was erected in 280 BC in honor of the victory of the Rhodians over the Macedonian general Demetrius Poliorcetes. The statue was built on a stone base, adding to its imposing presence. The bronze used in its creation reflected sunlight, creating a blinding shine visible from many kilometers away. Imagine the ships entering the harbor, seeing this towering figure majestically rising above them. The roar of the waves crashing against the statue's base created an atmosphere of power and grandeur. Some researchers claim that the Colossus served not only as a symbol, but also as a lighthouse, guiding sailors. This theory is based on the idea that the statue could have been positioned in such a way that the light reflected from its surface helped ships navigate at night. The Colossus stood for only 56 years before it was destroyed by a strong earthquake around 226 or 227 BC. Despite its short life, the Colossus of Rhodes left an indelible mark on history, becoming a symbol of strength and engineering prowess of its time. After its destruction, the remains were left in place as a reminder of its greatness. Later, in the first half of the 2nd century BC, the Romans even attempted to restore it, but their plans did not come to fruition. Only mentions of its grandeur remain, and the exact location of the remaining fragments continues to be a subject of debate among archaeologists. Ancient civilizations located on various continents unexpectedly exhibit remarkable similarities in architecture and symbolism, raising numerous questions about possible connections between them. For instance, pyramids in Egypt, Mesoamerica, and China, built more than 2,000 years ago, are astonishingly similar. Egyptian pyramids, such as the Great Pyramid of Giza, are 146 meters tall and consist of more than 2 million stone blocks, while Mayan pyramids, like the Pyramid of Kukulkan in Chichen Itza, reach heights of 30 meters and served for astronomical observations. Chinese pyramids, such as the one in Xi'an, also have their unique features, including specific construction technologies that remain subjects of research. These structures can serve as examples of how different cultures created similar architectural forms, possibly inspired by common ideas or facing similar problems that required solutions. Symbols of the sun, such as solar discs and ziggurats, appear in various cultures, from ancient Egypt, where solar deities like Ra played a key role, to the Inca culture, which also associated the sun with divine beginnings. These parallels raise questions about how different peoples could independently develop similar symbolic systems. Flood myths, spread from ancient Mesopotamia to Greek and Indian mythology, may also indicate common archetypes passed down through generations. For example, the Epic of Gilgamesh and the biblical story of Noah share striking similarities, including the salvation of the chosen and animals from catastrophes. There are various theories explaining these coincidences. Diffusionism asserts that cultural ideas spread through contacts between peoples, which could confirm the existence of ancient maritime routes and trade networks. Other researchers, such as American anthropologist Richard Coe, propose the existence of an ancient mother civilization that could have been the source of these knowledge and technologies. This hypothesis is supported by findings like totem poles discovered in different parts of the world with similar stylistic features despite geographical distance. A significant aspect is the appearance of specific technologies almost simultaneously in various parts of the world. For example, the use of fire-resistant clay in ceramics, documented in China, Mesoamerica, and the Near East, demonstrates how different peoples could independently develop similar methods, opening up discussions about possible connections between them. Parallels in astronomical knowledge, such as the precise calendars developed by the Maya and Chinese, show that some aspects of scientific knowledge could be universal. Thus, similarities in architectural forms, symbols, and myths between distant civilizations raise many questions about how these peoples could exchange ideas or develop them independently. Flood myths, solar symbols, and pyramids built in different eras, but with similar functions, become connecting links in understanding human history. The appearance of such universal symbols and technologies in different corners of the world leaves us with mysteries that still await resolution. For example, in the 20th century, archaeologists discovered more than 200 pyramids in southern China, adding more questions to the already known facts about the construction and culture of these ancient societies. It's hard to imagine that the stoneworking technologies of ancient Egypt could leave modern equipment in the shade. The Egyptians worked with granite, which has a hardness of 7 on the Mohs scale, with such precision that its surface still shines like a mirror even today, thousands of years later. Modern engineers, when faced with the need to cut and polish such hard minerals, acknowledge that achieving similar results requires the use of the latest technologies and tools. The smoothness of the finished surfaces is impressive. The angle between the walls of the blocks often reaches an accuracy of 1/10 of a millimeter, which testifies to the outstanding skills of the ancient craftsmen. For example, the famous sarcophagus of Pharaoh Khufu, carved from a single block of granite, is a testament to this mastery, with its perfect right angles and minimal deviations in size, a feat that seems unattainable today. Researchers propose various theories about the methods of stoneworking, from the use of abrasive sand and copper saws to more exotic versions involving sound technologies that could create vibrations for cutting. Some suggest that the ancient craftsmen used special tools made from harder minerals like corundum to achieve the necessary precision. The sound that the stone makes when tapped can be compared to the melody played by a musical instrument, highlighting the high-quality finish, while the polished granite, reflecting light like a mirror, creates stunning visual effects. Basalt, with a hardness of 6 on the Mohs scale, was also subjected to meticulous processing, indicating a high level of engineering and architecture among the ancient Egyptians. Diabase, which can reach a hardness of 8, was used for creating statues and other monumental objects. For instance, the statue of Khafra made of diabase not only possesses a majestic appearance, but also maintains a smooth surface that has endured for centuries. Scientists continue to study this mysterious technology, trying to understand what methods the ancient craftsmen used to achieve such precision and durability in their creations. The fact that in some cases, stone blocks were polished to such an extent that they could be moved without the use of any modern technology causes genuine amazement. In the Sun Gate of Tiwanaku, located at an altitude of 3,800 meters above sea level, a unique world of ancient astronomy and mythology unfolds. This monumental portal, approximately 3 meters in height and 4 meters in width, is carved from andesite, a massive volcanic stone weighing up to 10 tons. The central bas-relief depicts a sun god with rays, whose face is surrounded by mysterious symbols that have sparked numerous interpretations. Some researchers, such as Peruvian archaeologist Julio Tello, claim that the portal could have served as an astronomical marker, linking it to the solar calendar and determining the moments of equinoxes and solstices. The orientation of the gate is precisely aligned with the sunrise and sunset at key moments of the year, which supports the possibility of its use in religious ceremonies related to sun worship. The symbols surrounding the central figure include animal images and geometric patterns, immersing one in a sacred atmosphere where each element holds significance. The thin air of the highlands, the interplay of light and shadow on the ancient carved surfaces, create a sense of grandeur and mystery. Additionally, according to some legends, the gates are connected to the myth of the first people on Earth, adding another layer to their importance. The age of the gates varies, but most scholars agree that they were created no later than the 8th century AD, making them one of the most significant monuments of pre-Columbian America. The portal has become not only an architectural marvel, but also a symbol of the cultural identity of Tiwanaku, reflecting the complexity and richness of the mythology and astronomy of the ancient Andean people. Around the gates, discussions continue about which cult or rituals they might have symbolized, and research continues to uncover their true purpose and meaning. The notion that the Earth is spherical is not a novel idea, as is often believed. As early as the 6th century BCE, the Pythagoreans proposed the hypothesis of a spherical Earth based on observations of celestial bodies and natural phenomena. They noticed that the moon and the sun have a round shape, and from this, they concluded that the Earth's shape is similar. In the 4th century BCE, Aristotle provided several compelling proofs for this theory. He observed the shadow of the Earth on the moon during a lunar eclipse, which always remained circular, which would not be possible if the Earth were flat. He also noticed that ships disappearing over the horizon first vanish from the bottom and then from the top, indicating the curvature of the planet's surface. In the 2nd century BCE, Eratosthenes, a Greek scientist and librarian at the Library of Alexandria, conducted one of the earliest known measurements of the Earth's circumference. He used the shadows cast by pillars in different cities to calculate the angle of the sun's rays, and, based on the distance between the cities, calculated the circumference of the Earth with remarkable accuracy, at 66,600 kilometers, which is only 2% less than the modern value. In most ancient civilizations, educated people already knew about the sphericity of the Earth. For example, in India and China, there were also beliefs in a round Earth. The Babylonians observed stars and recorded their positions, which allowed them to make conclusions about the shape of the Earth. Mesopotamian astronomers created star maps showing how stars revolve around the polar star, which also confirmed their beliefs about the planet being a sphere. These knowledge were passed down from generation to generation and enriched with new observations. In ancient Rome, philosophers such as Seneca and Cicero also asserted that the Earth is round, relying on the scientific achievements of their predecessors. These ideas about the spherical Earth were quite widespread among educated people, despite the prevalent myths about a flat Earth in later times. All this body of knowledge formed the basis for further astronomical research and voyages, from which, in fact, the era of geographical discoveries began. For example, theories about the circular horizon and the spherical shape of the Earth contributed to navigation in open seas and the exploration of new territories. It is important to note that such representations of the surrounding world not only enriched scientific knowledge, but also inspired many researchers and thinkers who continued to develop these ideas in their works. Ancient peoples possessed an extraordinary ability for astronomical observations, as evidenced by their observatories, such as the Göbekli Circle in Germany. This Neolithic structure, dating back approximately 4,900 years before our era, is a system of concentric circles made of earthen banks and surrounded by wooden posts and palisades. The structure has precisely oriented passageways that allow for the observation of sunrise and sunset on key days of the year, such as the solstices and equinoxes. These observations were not mere hobbies. They played a crucial role in agriculture and religious practices. In the quiet of dawn, as the world began to awaken, ancient people would gather at the observatory, awaiting the appearance of the solar disk. The gradual illumination of the sky and earth brought a sense of unity with cosmic cycles, creating an unforgettable moment when light pierced through ancient stones, such as those at Stonehenge, built around 3,000 years before our era. This structure was likely used for rituals related to astronomical events, and its design reflects a deep understanding of astronomy. In Ireland, Newgrange, built around 3,000 years before our era, demonstrates similar principles. Its passageways are precisely aligned with the sunrise on the winter solstice, allowing light to enter and illuminate the stone chamber, creating a sense of a sacred moment of connection with the heavens. In Mayan culture, observatories like Karnak were used for precise tracking of planetary and stellar movements, enabling accurate predictions of solar and lunar eclipses. These ancient astronomers did not simply gaze at the stars. They created complex calendars based on observations of celestial bodies, allowing them to regulate their agricultural cycles. The construction of observatories required significant resources and collective efforts, highlighting the importance of astronomy in the lives of these cultures. The existence of structures like the Göbekli Circle, Stonehenge, and Newgrange confirms that ancient peoples possessed not only practical knowledge, but also a deep respect for nature and its cycles. These knowledge, passed down through generations, allowed them not only to survive, but also to connect their lives with the cosmos. Imagine ice-cold, crystal-clear quartz skulls, meticulously carved from a single piece of quartz, discovered in the depths of ancient Central American temples. These artifacts not only captivate with their flawless polish, but also with their anatomical precision, which seems as if they were crafted by an expert sculptor familiar with human anatomy. Each skull reflects light in such a way that it appears as if stars are trapped within, while the empty eye sockets gaze at the observer, evoking both unease and admiration. Scientific research has shown that some of these skulls can refract light in unusual ways, creating visual effects that are difficult to explain. Today, around 30 such skulls are known, most of which were discovered in the 19th century, opening up a range of controversial theories about their origins. Some believe these skulls to be ancient artifacts with mystical properties, possessing healing or predictive powers, which has sparked interest among occultists and enthusiasts of mysteries. Meanwhile, a significant number of researchers argue that they are elegant forgeries created in the 19th century, when interest in ancient civilizations such as the Maya and Aztecs was at its peak. These skulls may have been made to satisfy the growing demand for exotic artifacts among collectors and adventurers. The tools used for their creation remain a subject of debate. Some suggest they were primitive technologies, while others propose that ancient craftsmen possessed knowledge now lost to us. However, it is known that the skulls were crafted with such care that some exhibit traces of polishing, indicating the use of abrasive materials that could have been locally produced. While some skulls are displayed in museums, others have disappeared into private collections, further enhancing their mystique. For many researchers and history enthusiasts, these objects remain an unsolved mystery, drawing them with their allure and enigma. Notably, these skulls typically lack a clear, documented history of their origins, making them ideal subjects for speculation and theories. Have you ever wondered how secrets hidden in the scorching Peruvian desert defy explanation? The Nazca lines, these enigmatic geoglyphs, are among the most intriguing artifacts of an ancient civilization that thrived here over 2,000 years ago. The geoglyphs reach immense sizes. Some stretch up to 370 meters in length, and their precision continues to amaze even contemporary scientists. These drawings feature images of animals such as hummingbirds, monkeys, and lizards, as well as complex geometric shapes and flowers that seem to rise from the barren sandy landscape, like oases of vibrant colors in a sea of gray tones. The preservation of these geoglyphs over centuries is astonishing. The absence of vegetation and the constant wind help maintain their clear outlines, which are resistant to erosion. Scientists have proposed numerous theories about the purpose of the Nazca Lines. Some believe they were ritual paths for worshipping gods, while others suggest that the geoglyphs served as a calendar or a map of underground water sources, which were crucial for survival in this harsh climate. The heat of the desert and the rustling of sand contrast with the delicacy of these images, evoking the feeling that they were created to be seen only from a bird's eye view, as if the ancient inhabitants sought to communicate with gods, leaving messages visible only from the clouds. Research continues, and each new approach to studying the Nazca Lines reveals new aspects of their significance and use. Scientific expeditions, such as the project led by Professor John Hopkins in 2017, are aimed at analyzing the geoglyphs using modern technologies, including drones and laser scanning, which allow researchers to explore and create three-dimensional models of these mysterious drawings. It is fascinating that such methods show how the lines were created using simple tools but with a high degree of skill. The scale and precision of the geoglyphs are not only impressive, but also challenge our understanding of the knowledge and skills of the ancient peoples who lived in this region. 80 years ago, in the 1930s, archaeologist Maria Rika identified more than 80 drawings, further emphasizing the diversity and richness of the cultural heritage of Nazca. These geoglyphs continue to be a subject of research and debate, as each new discovery can lead to revolutionary findings. There are even hypotheses that the lines served as a navigation tool in this complex and harsh landscape, indicating the way to oases or other important places. In the ancient Indian epic Mahabharata, one can find references to technologies that evoke a sense of awe and wonder when viewed through the lens of modern times. For example, one passage describes shining weapons that emit light brighter than 1,000 suns. This is not merely poetic exaggeration, but rather a description that hints at capabilities beyond our current understanding. After their use, food became poisonous, and those who survived lost their hair and nails, which aligns with the concept of radiation exposure. These verses, written thousands of years ago, compel us to ponder what might have existed in the distant past, when technologies could have been at a level far beyond our imagination. Vedic texts also mention vimanas, flying machines that, according to descriptions, could move through the air like modern airplanes and even traverse interstellar space. Comparing these ancient technologies with modern ones such as airplanes and spacecraft sparks amazement and makes us question how far our understanding of ancient civilizations' capabilities has advanced. In China, there are references to mirrors used for transmitting images over long distances, which evoke associations with modern technologies like television or video conferencing. These ancient texts, written in archaic languages, sound like fantastic tales in their context, yet they may contain kernels of truth about technologies our ancestors possessed. Immersing oneself in these lines can make one's head spin with the thought that perhaps we are not the only ones to have reached technological heights. In Mahabharata, one can find references to mechanisms that can be interpreted as early versions of technologies we know today, such as automated devices or even robots. These descriptions pique the interest of historians and scientists seeking to unravel the mysteries that could reshape our understanding of human history. Research shows that ancient texts like Mahabharata and the Vedas may contain crucial information about technologies that were lost or forgotten. Scholars like Indian historian Rajesh K. Sharma assert that these texts can serve as keys to solving many historical puzzles related to technological progress. These mentions of technologies that existed thousands of years ago challenge traditional views on the development of human civilization and prompt researchers to reevaluate their assumptions about the achievements of ancient peoples. In most cases, these archaic descriptions evoke a sense that we are dealing not with myths, but with real evidence of advanced technologies that could have existed in the past. It is important to understand that these texts are not just literary works, but potential historical documents that can shed light on hidden aspects of our history. Comparing them with modern technologies makes these ancient records even more intriguing, reminding us that history is often full of surprises and mysteries. It is hard not to feel admiration and awe when reading about wonders that might have existed in the distant past and contemplating the many secrets history still holds. These texts also mention divine machines that could have served not only for warfare but also for peaceful purposes, such as agriculture or construction. Vedic texts describe the use of sound waves and energy manipulations, which evoke associations with modern scientific developments in the fields of acoustics and energy technologies. All this creates a sense that ancient peoples could have possessed knowledge that was ahead of its time and remains a mystery to modern man. Comparing our own technological achievements with these ancient descriptions underscores the gap between what we know and what might have been known and lost over centuries. Modern scientists continue to study these texts, trying to extract useful information that can shed light on many aspects of ancient civilization. Few people ponder how ancient Romans achieved such architectural heights that continue to amaze us today. Roman concrete, created with the addition of volcanic ash known as pozzolana, not only endured the test of time, but also demonstrates a remarkable property. It becomes stronger with each passing century. This unique material allowed Roman builders to construct monumental structures that easily withstood the effects of water and time. For instance, Roman aqueducts like the Aqueduct of Claudius, built in the 1st century AD, stretched over more than 60 kilometers and supplied the city with water from distant sources. Architects employed arches and vaults, ensuring not only structural strength, but also the grandeur of the construction. The coolness experienced inside thermal baths, such as the baths of Caracalla, was a result of the clever use of these construction technologies. Even on hot days, Romans could enjoy comfort by immersing themselves in water-filled pools, where the sound of water created an atmosphere of relaxation and tranquility. Roads paved with Roman concrete continue to be used today, such as the Appian Way, built in 335 BC, connecting Rome with Bruttium. The smoothness of the stone, polished by centuries, can be felt under one's fingers when walking along these historical routes, and each crack and pothole tells a story of the thousands of feet that have passed over them. The engineering marvels of Rome were not only practical, but also aesthetically pleasing. Majestic temples like the Pantheon, with its impressive dome of 43 meters in diameter, employed innovative construction methods and remain a model for imitation to this day. Inside the Pantheon, an extraordinary acoustics prevails, and the light that penetrates through the dome's opening creates an atmosphere of divine mystery. Thanks to their engineering achievements, Romans created not just infrastructure, but an entire cultural environment that continues to inspire architects and builders around the world. For centuries, ancient secret societies have hidden knowledge that remained inaccessible to the majority. The mysteries of Eleusis, which existed from the beginning of the 1st millennium BCE, served as an important ritual for the initiated, seeking to understand the nature of life and death. These mysteries were connected to the cult of Demeter and her daughter Persephone, who symbolized agricultural cycles and the rebirth of nature. The initiation process included complex rituals, such as a mysterious immersion in sacred waters, which symbolized purification and a new beginning. Participants swore to keep silent about the secrets revealed to them, creating an atmosphere of mystery and exclusivity. Similarly, the Pythagorean Union, founded by Pythagoras in the 6th century BCE, offered its members access to knowledge about mathematics and geometry, which were considered sacred. Members of this union studied not only numbers, but also philosophy, believing that everything in the world could be explained through mathematics. Their practices included a multi-level system of initiation, where each level opened new aspects of knowledge and esoteric teachings to the participants. The cult of Mithras, which emerged in the Roman world in the 1st century CE, was also shrouded in secrecy. Its followers conducted rituals in underground sanctuaries lit by torches, where they symbolically sacrificed a bull, representing the act of creation and rebirth. These rituals were filled with symbolism and gestures that were passed down from generation to generation, creating a sense of an unbroken chain of tradition. The knowledge preserved in these societies varied from practical, such as astronomy, which allowed for the prediction of solar and lunar eclipses, to deeper philosophical teachings about the nature of the soul and the universe. Secret gatherings, where these topics were discussed, took place under conditions of strict secrecy, by torchlight, and with the use of symbolic passwords, enhancing the mystery and significance of these knowledge. These ancient practices and teachings continue to influence contemporary culture and philosophy, linking ancient civilizations with the present. Mysteries, unions, and cults did not simply disappear. They left a trace that is still felt today. In the tropical forests of Costa Rica, scattered are mysterious stone spheres that continue to be the subject of study and debate among archaeologists and historians. These spheres vary in size from several centimeters to 2.5 meters in diameter and can weigh up to 16 tons. Most are made of granodiorite, a durable and strong material, which is remarkable considering the primitive technologies available to the ancient inhabitants of the region. Their nearly perfect spherical shape indicates a high level of craftsmanship and precision in stonework. The majority of the spheres are located in the southwest of the country, in the Delta Rio Torres region, where they appear in specific geometric patterns. This arrangement suggests that the spheres may have been used as astronomical markers, helping ancient civilizations to navigate by stars and determine the seasons. Some researchers propose that the stone spheres could have served as symbols of status, indicating the power and influence of those who created them. Other theories suggest that they might have been used as navigational aids for travelers in the dense jungle vegetation. The moist air of the tropical forest creates a contrast between the man-made perfect spheres and the chaotic vegetation, enhancing the feeling of touching an ancient enigma surrounded by the sounds of nature and the vibrant colors of exotic plants. The spheres often appear in groups forming geometric figures, adding further intrigue to their purpose and significance. Archaeologists like Mario Salina and his team have been studying these structures since the end of the 20th century, trying to unravel their mysteries and understand their role in the lives of the ancient inhabitants of Costa Rica. Each discovered sphere has a story to tell, but for now, they remain silent witnesses of a fading era. 80% of them are within 100 kilometers of the country's capital, San Jose, making them accessible for research and study. Despite numerous efforts, the exact purpose of these stone spheres remains unclear. On the territory of modern Pakistan, there once existed one of the greatest ancient civilizations, the Indus Valley Civilization. Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, two key cities of this culture, were true masterpieces of urban planning. The streets of these cities were paved with bricks, forming a clear grid that allowed for efficient organization of space. Parallel and perpendicular streets, intersecting at right angles, indicated a high level of planning. Houses were built from fired bricks, and the drainage system, which is believed to have been one of the most advanced in the world at the time, included drainage channels that passed under the streets and ensured rapid removal of wastewater. Standardized units of weight and measurement indicated a developed trade and economy. Clay seals with images of animals and symbols found in these cities speak of a high level of art and culture in this civilization. However, despite all its achievements, the Indus Valley civilization declined. There are various theories explaining this disappearance. One of the most popular hypotheses is the change in the course of rivers, which could have led to a shortage of water for irrigation. Climate changes, such as droughts, could have weakened food security. Invasions by Aryan tribes coming from the north are also considered one of the causes of decline. The once bustling streets of Mohenjo-Daro, now silent and abandoned, lie under the sun. In the center of the city stood a mysterious citadel, presumably serving as a religious or administrative center. Its powerful walls, reaching up to 9 meters in height, were awe-inspiring, and the Great Bath, with dimensions of 30 by 20 meters, was one of the first public baths in the world. It was likely used for ritual cleansing. The noise of crowded streets, where merchants offered their goods, mixed with the scents of spices, fresh bread, and the sweat of craftsmen. But all this soon disappeared, leaving only silence and dust. Where once life was vibrant, now only the wind whispers of the greatness and fall of this great civilization. Mohenjo-Daro was abandoned around 2000 BCE. At the heart of Knossos on Crete, there was a palace that served as the prototype for myths and legends associated with the labyrinth and the Minotaur. Built around 2,000 years before our era, this palace is remarkable for its multi-level architecture, consisting of more than 1,000 rooms connected by convoluted corridors, evoking associations with the labyrinth in which, according to myth, the Minotaur dwelt. The architects employed advanced engineering solutions, including a water supply and sewage system that provided the palace with clean water and allowed for the removal of waste. Vibrant frescoes depicting scenes from the lives of the Minoans, animals, and floral motifs adorn the walls, giving the rooms a lively atmosphere. An important aspect of the cultural life of Knossos was the cult of the bull, which found expression in rituals and symbols related to this animal. In the throne room, the most important chamber of the palace, there was a throne carved from stone, decorated with reliefs of bulls and floral patterns, emphasizing the majesty of the king's power. Storage rooms located on the lower levels contained a vast quantity of ceramic vessels, grain, and other goods, indicating a developed accounting system. The Minoans used Linear A script for record-keeping, which is one of the earliest examples of writing in Europe. Within the palace, a special atmosphere prevailed. Light filtered through light shafts, creating patterns of shadows on the walls, and the scent of the sea wafted through open courtyards, where one could hear the sounds of life, the laughter of children, conversations of servants, and the rhythmic steps of priests performing their rituals. This complex and multi-layered structure, filled with life and history, remains a mystery to archaeologists and historians who continue to unravel its secrets. Discoveries such as ceramics and tools help restore images of Minoan society, its culture and customs. The Palace of Knossos has become a symbol of the Minoan civilization, and its discoveries continue to amaze and inspire researchers. Particularly intriguing is the fact that on this site, a unique fresco depicting dancing girls was found, which is considered one of the main masterpieces of Minoan art. Imagine a mysterious corner of the earth where, around the beginning of the 4th millennium BCE, along the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, an extraordinary civilization suddenly emerges: the Sumerians. This culture, which archaeologists first began to study in the 19th century, exhibited an incredible complexity and development, including cuneiform writing, architectural achievements, and a well-organized social structure. The Sumerians called themselves black-headed, a reference to their black hair, while their neighboring peoples had lighter shades. There are myths that claim their civilization was brought by mysterious beings known as the Anunnaki, who, according to legends, descended from the heavens to share knowledge about agriculture, construction, and astronomy. In these ancient city-states, such as Ur and Uruk, in every house, the soft scratching of clay tablets under the stylus of the scribe could be heard, recording important events, transactions, and even literary works. The Sumerians achieved remarkable success in astronomy. They knew about 5 planets visible to the naked eye, including Venus and Mars, and created a calendar based on the cycles of the moon and sun, enabling them to accurately predict solar and lunar eclipses. They also developed irrigation systems that allowed them to cultivate land even in drought conditions, which contributed to the growth of agriculture and population. The scientific achievements of the Sumerians, such as the foundations of mathematics and geometry, became the basis for subsequent civilizations. The ancient Sumerians used a number system based on 60, which explains why we have 60 seconds in a minute and 360 degrees in a circle. A significant part of their culture was religion, where gods controlled all aspects of life, and each city had its patron deity, to whom magnificent ziggurats, stepped pyramids, were erected, serving as both religious and administrative centers. The Sumerian civilization had a significant impact on neighboring peoples, and its achievements continue to amaze historians and archaeologists who strive to unravel the mysteries left by this great culture, about which we know thanks to numerous finds, including thousands of clay tablets discovered during excavations. Currently, more than 200,000 such tablets are being studied, containing information about the life, culture, and sciences of the Sumerians, making them one of the most intriguing objects of study in the field of ancient history. In the dense jungles of Yucatan lies the ancient Merida, a city that remains a mystery to historians and archaeologists. The architecture of Merida showcases a unique blend of styles, where elements of Maya, Toltec, and even late Spanish influences intertwine. For instance, one of the most famous structures is the Church of St. John the Baptist, built in the 16th century on the basis of an ancient Maya pyramid that served as the center of their cult. The walls of the church are adorned with carvings that combine Christian symbols with traditional Maya motifs, emphasizing the syncretism characteristic of this region. Scholars believe that Merida was a significant trading and cultural hub, connecting various civilizations, as it lay at the intersection of several key trade routes. This is supported by the findings from excavations, artifacts such as ceramic vessels and jewelry made from materials sourced from distant regions, including Central America and even the Pacific Ocean, have been discovered. These artifacts include rare obsidian tools believed to have been brought from present-day Guatemala. These findings indicate that Merida not only served as a place for the exchange of goods, but also of cultural ideas, creating a unique atmosphere where various traditions and customs merged. The dense jungle surrounding the city creates an atmosphere of mystery, where the sounds of the tropical forest envelop the ancient walls, and sunlight filters through the foliage, illuminating the ruins as if they are eager to reveal their secrets. Research continues, and each new discovery sheds more light on the multifaceted history of this place. For example, in 2020, archaeologists discovered an underground complex in Merida, which they believe was used for rituals related to rain and harvest, further confirming the city's importance to its inhabitants. Merida, with its unique architectural appearance and rich history, continues to be a subject of study and attracts the interest of scholars from around the world. Queen Nefertiti, one of the most enigmatic figures of ancient Egypt, left behind a plethora of questions that remain unanswered to this day. She was not only the wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten, but also a key figure in his religious revolution, when the worship of traditional gods was replaced by faith in the single sun, god Aten. Nefertiti was depicted on numerous reliefs and statues, her beauty and majesty striking. In one of the most famous images, she is portrayed with her characteristic crown and vibrant attire, highlighting her status and influence in society. However, after the 12th year of Akhenaten's reign, her name disappears from historical records, sparking numerous speculations. One of the most prevalent theories suggests her death from an epidemic that could have struck the country at that time. Other researchers propose that Nefertiti might have been exiled or changed her name, becoming ruler under the name Smenkhkare, which could explain her sudden disappearance from historical chronicles. Some scholars even suggest that she might have ruled Egypt as a sole pharaoh, which would have been unprecedented for a woman at that time. In the search for her tomb, archaeologists have paid attention to a mysterious mummy known as the Younger Lady, discovered in the tomb KV35 in the Valley of the Kings. This mummy, dating back to the 14th century BC, has some anatomical features that match Nefertiti, adding to the intrigue surrounding her disappearance. Research indicates that this mummy suffered from illnesses and likely died at a young age, but there are no exact data on her identification. The search for her tomb continues, and archaeologists use modern technologies such as X-ray and tomographic studies to determine where this enigmatic queen is truly buried. Nefertiti remains a symbol of ancient Egypt, her story filled with mysteries, and each new archaeological discovery only fuels the interest in her personality and fate. Remarkably, ancient structures were often built with such astronomical precision that they served not only as places of worship, but also as observatories for observing celestial phenomena. For instance, the Temple of Abu Simbel in Egypt, constructed in the 13th century BC during the reign of Pharaoh Ramses II, has unique architecture that allows sunlight to illuminate the statues of gods inside the temple twice a year, on the day of the pharaoh's birthday and on the day of his coronation. Each year, on these days, light penetrates through the main entrance and illuminates the face of the statue of Ramses, creating a breathtaking spectacle. The precise orientation of the temple relative to the solar cycle has amazed modern observers as they watch the rays of light slowly fill the sanctuary, creating a play of light and shadow that imbued the space with a mystical meaning. In Mexico, the Pyramid of Kukulkan, also known as El Castillo in Chichen Itza, built in the 9th century AD, demonstrates its unique astronomical function during the equinoxes. At these moments, when the sun sets, the shadows cast on the steps of the pyramid create the illusion of a snake descending the staircase, symbolizing the rain god Kukulkan. This spectacle draws crowds of spectators who stand in awe as they witness the natural phenomena merging with human creation. Stonehenge in England, built over 4,000 years ago, also showcases exceptional astronomical accuracy. On the summer solstice, when the sun rises, its rays pass through the center of the circle of stones, creating an effect that captivates and inspires millions of people who come to admire this wonder. The hushed whispers of admiration, mixed with the gentle breeze, create an atmosphere of reverence, and each person present feels a connection to the ancient ancestors who also gazed upon this celestial phenomenon. These structures have become not only places for rituals, but also witnesses to astronomical events that underscore the deep connection of ancient civilizations with nature and their understanding of its laws. The Temple of Abu Simbel, the Pyramid of Kukulkan, and Stonehenge all serve as reminders of how knowledge of celestial bodies shaped the culture and religion of ancient peoples. The Library of Alexandria, once the greatest repository of knowledge in the ancient world, was a colossal treasure trove, estimated to hold up to 700,000 scrolls. This institution was not merely a repository, but a true intellectual magnet for scholars, philosophers, and writers from across the Mediterranean. Information gathering was conducted on an impressive scale. Every ship arriving at the port of Alexandria was subjected to meticulous inspection, and all texts found on board were copied and added to the library's collections. This was an era when papyrus scrolls rustled under the hands of researchers, and the air was filled with the scent of parchment, creating a unique atmosphere where anyone could touch the wisdom of preceding generations. The library was lit by oil lamps that cast a soft light on ancient texts, creating a half-light in which the words of great minds came to life. The library's destruction remains one of the most debated topics in history. Several theories exist to explain how this treasure trove was destroyed. One of the most well-known theories links its destruction to a fire that occurred in 39 BCE during Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria. During the battle, a fire spread through part of the city and, as is believed, destroyed a significant portion of the library's collections. Another version claims that the library was finally destroyed by order of Caliph Omar in the 7th century CE, as Islamic rule became dominant in the region. Some historians believe that the library was gradually destroyed due to decay and neglect, as the knowledge it held was lost to oblivion. Each of these scenarios leaves behind a wealth of questions about how humanity could have lost such a vast repository of knowledge. Currently, it is known that the Library of Alexandria, along with its vast collections of scientific, literary, and philosophical information, has disappeared, leaving only shadows in history as reminders of how easily an entire epoch of knowledge can be lost. In the caves of Liguria, on the northern coast of Italy, rock paintings have been discovered that raise numerous questions among researchers and history enthusiasts. These images, apparently depicting strange figures resembling modern submarines, date back to the Neolithic period, around the 8th millennium BCE. The caves where these artifacts were found are characterized by a distinctive coolness and subdued light, creating an atmosphere of mystery and mystique. In one such cave, known as the Cave of Nero, researchers found more than 30 images that can be interpreted as stylized boats or even marine creatures. These figures are unusual in shape, reminiscent of modern submarines, with smooth lines and rounded forms, suggesting a potential connection between ancient people and the sea and its inhabitants. The striking contrast between the soft light and the cold stone walls adds another layer of perception, making one ponder how ancient people perceived the world around them. Some researchers, such as anthropologist Dr. Louisa Martin, suggest that these images could be evidence of technologies that we still cannot explain, while others, like historian Dr. Antonio Rosato, believe they are simply artistic expressions reflecting the customs and beliefs of the time. There are even theories that these figures are stylized depictions of marine animals like dolphins or fish, indicating a deep connection between ancient people and nature. These rock paintings continue to spark debate about what they represent and the extent of the knowledge and technologies of people living at that time. The coolness of the caves, filled with the sound of dripping water and rustling, creates an indescribable atmosphere as researchers attempt to unravel the mysteries hidden behind millennia. Each glance at these images opens new avenues for discussion, underscoring how much we still do not know about our history. A significant aspect is that such discoveries as the Ligurian rock paintings challenge traditional notions of the development of civilizations and their interaction with the surrounding world. The discovery of these images undoubtedly adds a new dimension to the complex picture of understanding human experience in prehistoric times. Ancient surgeons, despite the lack of modern equipment and knowledge, performed remarkable medical operations that could cause bewilderment today. Trepanation, one of the earliest surgical procedures, was practiced as early as the Neolithic period, approximately 8,000 years ago. Archaeologists have discovered numerous skulls with signs of drilling performed with primitive tools, such as obsidian knives and copper drills. Around 30% of the found skulls show signs of healing, indicating that many patients survived these operations. Remarkably, even in ancient times, when anesthesia was just beginning to develop, surgeons used various herbs and plants to alleviate pain. The scent of a poppy tincture and other pain-relieving remedies created an atmosphere of hope in the operating room, where the sound of instruments scraping against bones was mixed with the soft prayers of patients. In ancient Egypt, medical papyri such as the Ebers Papyrus described complex surgical procedures and the tools used, including scalpels, forceps, and clamps, which were surprisingly sophisticated for their time. For example, in Pompeii, surgical instruments were found that could serve as inspiration for modern surgical kits. These findings show that ancient Romans had an understanding of sterility and used instruments that could prevent infections. Ayurvedic practices in India also offered a variety of treatment methods, including surgery with copper instruments and complex mixtures of herbs for anesthesia. Patients on the brink of life and death felt not only pain but also hope for healing, thanks to the wisdom of ancient healers. These examples demonstrate that despite the absence of modern technologies, ancient civilizations possessed impressive knowledge about the human body and methods of its treatment. 80% of patients who underwent trepanation survived, challenging the stereotype that medicine in ancient times was barbaric and ineffective. The Baghdad Battery, dated to approximately 250 years before our era, is a unique example of ancient technologies that spark debate and interest among scholars and historians. This clay vessel, about 20 centimeters tall, contains a copper cylinder and an iron rod placed inside, creating a simple electric battery. When filled with a solution of electrolyte, such as vinegar or lemon juice, the device can generate a voltage of around 2 volts. This was confirmed in various experiments conducted by scientists in the 20th century, who replicated the Baghdad Battery's construction and tested its functionality. The most intriguing question is the purpose of this device. One theory suggests that the Baghdad Battery was used for galvanization, allowing the creation of decorative elements from gold and silver, giving them a gilded effect. Other researchers propose medical applications, such as pain relief or treating illnesses, as the slight tingling sensation that ancient people might have felt when in contact with the working device resembles modern electrotherapy. There is even a theory that it was used in rituals and religious ceremonies, creating the illusion of miracles and mystical phenomena. Imagine a priest holding this tarnished metal, from which a slight electric current emanates, creating a sense of connection to the supernatural. Archaeologists describe how, in their hands, this ancient artifact seems to come to life, opening doors to the mysteries of the past. The discovery of the Baghdad Battery was made in the early 20th century near Baghdad, in the area of Hirkana, and since then, it has been a subject of lively discussions among historians and scientists, trying to understand how advanced the scientific knowledge and technologies were in the ancient world. Questions about how this device was used remain open, and each new study only adds fuel to the debates about the capabilities of ancient civilizations. Notably, the Baghdad Battery draws parallels with modern technologies, making us ponder how far the knowledge and skills of people living more than 2,000 years ago could have advanced. At the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, near the Bahamas, lies a mysterious structure known as the Bimini Road. This underwater formation consists of a row of neatly laid rectangular blocks that resemble either an ancient road or a wall. The area of this structure is approximately 300 meters in length, with the width of individual blocks ranging from 1 to 2 meters. Scientists and researchers have been debating the origin of this strange construction for several decades. Some believe it to be the remnants of an ancient civilization, possibly Atlantis, as described by Plato. Others suggest it is merely a natural geological formation resulting from erosion and interaction with ocean currents. On July 18, 1930, Edgar Cayce, a renowned American psychic, predicted that the remains of Atlantis would be found in the Bimini area. This prediction has led to numerous studies and expeditions aimed at investigating the underwater structure. The sun's rays dancing on the water create a fascinating atmosphere for underwater exploration. Light penetrates the surface, casting intricate patterns on the stone blocks, while swaying seaweed, like ghosts, wrap around the stones, adding to the mystery. Many divers and scientists, such as Dr. Jonathan Bennett, who conducted research in this area in 2015, have descended to this structure to examine its details. Bennett discovered that some blocks show signs of processing, which casts doubt on the theory of a natural origin. Despite all efforts, the exact purpose and origin of the Bimini Road remain subjects of debate and heated discussion. Given that this structure is located at a depth of about 5 meters, it can only be explored on calm days when the sea is peaceful. It continues to attract the attention of researchers and adventurers eager to unravel its secrets. In 2006, a group of underwater archaeologists from the University of Florida discovered near the Bimini Road a series of fragments that they believe may be part of a larger system that once connected different land areas. These fragments include ceramic artifacts and tools dating back to the prehistoric era, adding more intrigue to the story of this mysterious road. Underwater research continues, and each new discovery could change our understanding of what lies beneath the waves. In the dense jungles of Central America, abandoned Mayan cities lie hidden, once the centers of prosperity and culture, but suddenly deserted in the 8th and 9th centuries of our era. These magnificent cities, such as Tikal and Palenque, were home to millions of people who built grand temples, pyramids, and palaces, but their lives came to a halt. Researchers have identified several key theories to explain this disappearance. One of the most widely discussed is the hypothesis of climate change. According to scientists, during this period, the region experienced significant droughts that led to the depletion of resources necessary for agriculture. Data shows that the amount of rainfall decreased by more than 20%, making it impossible to cultivate staple crops like corn. Another theory suggests the exhaustion of natural resources, particularly forests, due to intensive deforestation for construction and agriculture. Archaeological research indicates that in some areas, soil erosion reached critical levels, contributing to the collapse. Internal conflicts and social unrest may also have played a significant role. Evidence of violent clashes, such as weapon marks on skulls and remains, suggests that resource competition could have led to civil wars and the destruction of societies. Epidemics may have also played a part, causing mass mortality and weakening social structures. Now, silence reigns in the abandoned temples, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the sounds of wild animals that have taken up residence in the once bustling palaces. Time seems to have stopped, enveloping these places in an atmosphere of mystery and desolation. It is striking that some buildings, like the Temple of Inscriptions in Palenque, were forgotten for centuries until they were discovered by archaeologists in the late 19th century. 80% of the Mayan population disappeared, and their cities, such as Copan and Calakmul, became mere monuments to a vanished civilization. This is confirmed by research showing that in the 1930s, scientists found evidence of mass burials in Calakmul, suggesting a catastrophic end to their culture. Despite all their achievements, their civilization crumbled, leaving behind only stone ruins and mysteries that continue to captivate researchers. 800 years ago, grand cities filled with life became victims of a combination of natural disasters and human factors, leaving us with only fragments of their history. In the heart of Mexico lies Teotihuacan, a majestic city built in the 3rd century AD. Its dimensions are awe-inspiring. The city spans over 20 square kilometers, and at its peak, it housed more than 100,000 people. The city's main artery, the Avenue of the Dead, stretches 2 kilometers, connecting the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon. The Pyramid of the Sun, standing at around 60 meters tall, is one of the largest in the world and surpasses even the Egyptian pyramids in size. It is constructed from millions of stones, and its massive steps lead to the summit, offering a breathtaking view of the surrounding area. The Pyramid of the Moon, though smaller, is no less impressive, reaching 38 meters in height and also basking in the mysterious light of the Mexican sun. The geometric planning of Teotihuacan is remarkable. Its streets intersect at right angles, creating a harmony that continues to amaze archaeologists. The city's creators remain unknown, and this mystery has captivated scholars for many years. Many believe that the city was not built by the Aztecs, whose culture flourished centuries after Teotihuacan's decline. The reasons for the city's abandonment remain unclear. Some researchers suggest ecological disasters, while others point to internal conflicts. Walking along the Avenue of the Dead, one feels a unique atmosphere. The echo of footsteps resonates from the ancient walls, and the wind, blowing between the monumental structures, conveys a sense of time frozen in its eternal flow. The light dances on the steps, flickering between shadows, creating an illusion that this place has its own, unknown life. Scientific research continues. but Teotihuacan remains an unparalleled monument to a vanished civilization. Within its depths lie not only mysteries, but also evidence of the high level of development in architecture, astronomy, and society as a whole. Thus, this city, left by its creators, continues to attract the attention of researchers, tourists, and history enthusiasts eager to unravel its ancient secrets. 80 years ago, in the 1930s, archaeologists began systematic excavations, but even then, not all questions have been answered. Amazingly, but true, ancient civilizations possessed astronomical knowledge that even today's scientists are amazed by. For instance, the Maya created a complex calendar system, calculating the length of the solar year with an accuracy of 20 seconds. This achievement was made possible by their observations of celestial phenomena and the use of observatories like El Castillo in Chichen Itza. The Babylonians, who lived in what is now Iraq, predicted lunar eclipses with remarkable accuracy using their tablets, known as Babylonian astronomical tablets, which date back to around the 6th century BC. These tablets contained data on lunar and solar cycles, allowing priests to accurately determine when eclipses would occur. The builders of Newgrange in Ireland created unique megalithic structures, such as Newgrange, designed so that sunlight would enter only on the winter solstice, highlighting their deep connection to natural cycles and astronomical events. This structure, built around 3,000 years BC, carries not only architectural but also astronomical significance. The Antikythera mechanism, found on a shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera, is a complex device created around the 1st century BC for calculating the movements of celestial bodies. This mechanism includes a set of gears and disks, allowing the user to predict solar and lunar eclipses, as well as the positions of planets. At night, the sky above ancient observers was filled with stars, each with its own name and significance. In the silence of temple observatories, they reverently gazed at celestial phenomena, understanding that the movements of stars and planets directly influenced their lives and destinies. Ancient peoples used their astronomical knowledge not only for agriculture, but also for navigation, religious ceremonies, and creating myths that shaped their worldview. All these achievements underscore how closely astronomy was intertwined with daily life in ancient civilizations, and how their understanding of celestial phenomena defined their culture and traditions. Babylonian ziggurats, built for stargazing, served not only as temples, but also as astronomical observatories where priests conducted their precise observations. The night sky was filled with mysteries, each star, each planet, part of a great cosmic order that the ancients sought to understand. It is astonishing that the Aztecs developed a complex system of calendars consisting of two main types, the ritual Tonalpohualli and the solar Xiuhpohualli. The Tonalpohualli had a length of 260 days and was used to determine ritual periods, while the Xiuhpohualli was a solar calendar of 365 days, designed for agricultural cycles. These two calendars were combined into a unique 52-year cycle known as the Tonalpohualli, where the end of one cycle coincided with the beginning of the next. The Aztecs achieved remarkable accuracy in their calculations, allowing them to predict astronomical phenomena such as solar and lunar eclipses. This calendar was not just a tool for tracking time, but also an integral part of the Aztecs' religious beliefs, where each date had its own significance and was associated with gods. At the end of the 52-year cycle, the Aztecs performed a ceremony to renew the fire, fearing the end of the world. During these times, numerous rituals were conducted, including sacrifices and processions, as the Aztecs sought signs in the heavens and tried to appease their gods. Observations of stars and planets were meticulously organized, and priests recorded the movements of celestial bodies, enabling them to gain a deeper understanding of time. These rhythmic ceremonies emphasized the importance of the time cycle in Aztec culture, where each date was not just a number, but a part of the great cosmic order in which they sought their place. The Aztecs understood that time was not just a flow of days, but a rhythm that needed to be respected and understood. This calendar system, created in the 14th century, not only influenced their daily life, but also left a profound mark on the history of the civilization, which was unparalleled in its understanding of astronomy and time. In ancient texts from various cultures, one can encounter captivating descriptions of what are known as chariots of the gods, often depicted as flying vehicles used by deities. In the Vedas, sacred texts of the Indian tradition, descriptions of celestial chariots capable of moving through the air and emitting bright light can be found. For instance, the Rig Veda mentions vimanas, flying machines that create thunder and wind upon their appearance. These descriptions have intrigued researchers such as Erich von Däniken, who in his works posits that such references might serve as evidence of ancient humans' contact with extraterrestrial beings. He interprets these texts as witnesses to technologies that were too advanced for their time and suggests that the gods mentioned in sacred writings could have been representatives of other worlds. The Bible also contains similar imagery, for example, in the book of Ezekiel, where a chariot with 4 faces is described, surrounded by radiance and a cloud, giving the impression of flight. In Sumerian texts, references to celestial chariots used by gods for travel between worlds, as well as the sounds accompanying their appearance, thunder and whistling, as if they were cutting through the air, can be found. Such descriptions can be interpreted as metaphors for natural phenomena, such as lightning or hurricanes, indicating that ancient people used familiar images to explain the inexplicable. Proponents of more traditional views argue that these texts are merely mythological constructs, reflecting cultural beliefs about the divine. Ancient Greek mythology also features similar imagery: chariots driven by gods that could fly across the sky, leaving trails of fire. These descriptions have sparked rich debates about what ancient writers intended to convey. Ultimately, descriptions filled with vivid imagery and sounds could serve not only to transmit information, but also to create an emotional atmosphere that enhances the majesty and power of the deities. Vedic texts, for example, describe how gods descending on their chariots would cause storms and lightning, creating an atmosphere of grandeur and might. All these examples underscore how ancient cultures attempted to explain their observations using images that were understandable to their society. Legends of the lost Atlantis, swallowed by the sea, continue to captivate the minds of scholars and adventurers. The first mention of this mysterious island was made by the philosopher Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, written in the 4th century BC. According to his description, Atlantis was a highly advanced state located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, possessing a powerful navy and wealth, but ultimately destroyed by a catastrophe. Plato claimed that Atlantis was situated west of Europe and Asia, and its triumphant existence was sacrificed to natural disasters that led to its submersion. Since then, numerous theories have emerged regarding the location of this mythical country. Some researchers suggest that Atlantis could have been in the Mediterranean Sea, pointing to the islands of Santorini and Crete as possible candidates, where traces of ancient civilizations and volcanic catastrophes might be linked to Plato's descriptions. Other theories point to the Atlantic Ocean, where researcher Hiram Bingham in the early 20th century proposed that Atlantis could have been located near the Azores, based on underwater reefs and ancient artifacts. Another popular hypothesis delves into the North Sea, where researchers suggest that submerged lands could have been part of ancient coastlines that existed before the last ice age. The Caribbean basin has not been overlooked, with some treasure hunters convinced that remnants of Atlantis could lie beneath the waves, hidden from view and shrouded in myths. In recent decades, theories have even emerged that Atlantis could have been in Antarctica, once covered in green forests and flowering valleys, before ice caps swallowed it. Each of these versions draws the attention of researchers who delve into the roar of the sea, feeling the salty tang of the sea and the vastness of the watery expanse that holds ancient secrets. Numerous expeditions set out in search of evidence, each adding new brushstrokes to the canvas of this enigmatic history. In 2020, a team of scientists led by Dr. Neil Gale conducted underwater research in the Saronic Gulf, where they found ceramic fragments dated to the 3rd millennium BC, providing new food for thought about a possible connection to Atlantis. However, to this day, none of these places has provided conclusive evidence of the existence of this legendary island, and the mystery of Atlantis remains one of the most intriguing in human history. In the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, mysterious bas-reliefs have been discovered, depicting elongated objects that remarkably resemble modern electric lamps. These images, dating back to the 1st century BC, show details that spark debate among scholars and researchers. Inside these objects, something resembling a thread can be seen, and the object itself is connected to what appears to be a power source. Such interpretations raise numerous questions. Could ancient Egyptians have possessed knowledge of electricity? Some researchers claim that these images are evidence of the use of electrical energy in ancient Egypt, while others believe they symbolize the lotus flower and the rising sun, which are characteristic of ancient Egyptian mythology. Inside the temple, where a subdued light prevails, these bas-reliefs create an atmosphere of mystery and intrigue, as if touching ancient secrets. In addition to these bas-reliefs, there are numerous artifacts that may indicate the high level of chemical knowledge of the ancient Egyptians. For example, gilded vessels found in tombs demonstrate that the craftsmen of the time possessed technologies that allowed them to work with gold with remarkable precision. The preserved, colorful paintings on the walls also show the use of pigments that, according to scientists, could have been created using complex chemical processes. These details highlight the level of scientific and artistic development in ancient Egypt, which was far from primitive. The Temple of Hathor, built during the 20th to 21st dynasties, was not only a place of worship, but also a center of knowledge where treasures could be stored, which we are only beginning to understand. On the walls, one can see not only images of gods and rituals, but also various tools that could have been used in religious ceremonies. Archaeologists like Jean-François Champollion, who deciphered hieroglyphs, opened doors to a world that had been hidden from us for thousands of years. Every stroke on these bas-reliefs speaks of the fact that ancient Egyptians pondered questions that continue to fascinate humanity. These images and artifacts are not just decorative elements, but parts of a complex system of symbols that need to be studied and interpreted. Thus, the Temple of Hathor in Dendera becomes not only an object of worship, but also a key to understanding the greatness and mysteries of the ancient civilization. Inside this temple, where light plays on the walls, one can feel the breath of history and the mystery that we strive to unravel. At present, there is no unified opinion on the purpose and significance of these bas-reliefs, but they continue to attract the attention of researchers and tourists eager to unravel their secrets. In the mountains of China, mysterious granite discs have been discovered that have captivated researchers for several decades. These discs, approximately 30 centimeters in diameter, feature a central hole and are adorned with spiral grooves reminiscent of micro-engravings. They were first found in 1938 by archaeologist Chi-Pu Te in isolated caves surrounded by steep cliffs and dense forests, where sunlight barely penetrated the canopy. Legend has it that these artifacts could be evidence of a spacecraft crash, making them even more intriguing and mysterious. The spiral patterns on the discs raise numerous questions and speculations about a possible extraterrestrial culture. Chi-Pu Te himself claimed that the discs bear inscriptions that could reveal events from thousands of years ago, but many scientists consider this story to be a hoax. They point to the lack of convincing evidence and suggest that such findings could have been created by local craftsmen. Despite this, the dropping discs continue to generate genuine interest, and are a subject of debate among archaeologists and historians. Far from civilization, in remote mountain corners, these artifacts preserve an atmosphere of mystery and enigma, as if whispering about ancient secrets that humanity is not yet ready to decipher. The spiral patterns on the surface of the discs may reflect knowledge lost to time or be the result of playful creativity of ancient artists. From time to time, new research attempts to decipher these enigmatic symbols, but each time only raises new questions. Such discoveries spark heated discussions in scientific circles, giving rise to hypotheses about ancient civilizations that may have existed before our era. Meanwhile, critics argue that such stories often become embellished with myths and legends, straying from genuine science. However, the allure of these discs remains strong, drawing researchers like a magnet as they seek answers to questions about the past. The exact origin and true purpose of these artifacts remain subjects of debate and conjecture. Each new approach to their study opens up new, sometimes paradoxical, interpretations. The remoteness of the mountain caves where they were found adds to the mystique of this enigmatic discovery, which has yet to be fully explained. Scientific works on the dropping discs are continually updated with new data, but many of them do not withstand critical scrutiny. Nevertheless, fascination with these artifacts continues to inspire both scientists and enthusiasts of mysteries who strive to unravel the secrets they hold. The study of the dropping discs has become more than just an investigation of ancient artifacts. It is an attempt to understand the myths and legends surrounding these enigmatic finds. Scientists employ various analytical methods, including radiocarbon dating and chemical analysis, to determine when and by whom these unusual objects were created. As a result, the dropping discs remain one of the most mysterious discoveries of the 20th century, opening a door to a world where reality and fiction intertwine, leaving only hints at the true significance of these artifacts. Research continues, and perhaps in the future, we will be able to unravel the secrets hidden behind the spiral patterns. Remarkably, the map created by Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis in 1513 depicts the coastline of Antarctica with astonishing accuracy, despite the territory being hidden under ice for millennia. This map, one of many ancient maps, features mysterious contours that suggest lands unknown to Piri Reis's contemporaries. Reis claimed to have used numerous sources, including maps from ancient Greek and Roman sailors, as well as documents that may have been lost in subsequent centuries. It is intriguing to note that some of these sources could be based on earlier geographical discoveries that were not available in his time. Modern research shows that the map not only depicts the coastline of Antarctica, but also includes details that match contemporary geographical data obtained through satellite technology. For instance, the contours of a mountain range under the ice cover are depicted with such precision that it amazes scientists and raises questions about how Piri Reis could have obtained such information. Some experts hypothesize that ancient civilizations possessed geographical knowledge that was lost due to catastrophic events such as floods or wars. Similar maps, like the one created by Gerardus Mercator in the 16th century, also feature images of lands that were not discovered until the era of great geographical explorations. On Mercator's map, one can see the contours of the South American coastline, which remarkably accurately reflect its shape, even though Mercator himself did not have the opportunity to explore these territories. The study of Piri Reis's map and other cartographers' works has sparked heated debates among historians and cartographers who seek to understand how and from where these knowledge could have come. In particular, in 1992, a group of scientists from the University of Missouri, studying Piri Reis's map, found that the features of the Antarctic terrain depicted on the map match contemporary geographical data, challenging traditional views on the history of cartography and geographical research. Some researchers suggest that ancient sailors could have reached these lands using more advanced navigation technologies than those known in their time. As a result, Piri Reis's map not only inspires awe, but also raises many unanswered questions. Each new analysis of the map opens new horizons for researchers trying to unravel this historical enigma and generates theories about possible contacts between ancient civilizations and lands known only in myths. Technical details, such as the use of various projections and measurement methods, indicate a high level of skill among the cartographers of that time, capable of representing complex geographical features that were not accessible to their contemporaries. Imagine a civilization that reached remarkable heights but suddenly plunged into oblivion. The Minoan civilization, which existed on Crete from around 2000 to 1500 BCE, was one of the brightest chapters in ancient history. The Minoans built magnificent palace complexes, such as Knossos, which covered an area of over 30,000 square meters. These palaces were equipped with sophisticated water supply and drainage systems, a true marvel of engineering for their time. In Knossos, archaeologists discovered frescoes depicting scenes of everyday life, animals, and mythical creatures in vibrant colors, evidence of a high level of artistic skill. The Minoans actively traded with neighboring cultures, using their powerful fleets to exchange goods with Egypt, the Levant, and even continental Greece. However, in the early 2nd millennium BCE, the civilization faced a catastrophe that fundamentally changed its fate. One of the most popular theories about the causes of the Minoan civilization's decline is the eruption of the volcano on the island of Santorini around 1600 BCE. This eruption caused powerful tsunamis that devastated the coasts of Crete, destroying port cities and the Minoan fleet, while the ash that blocked out the sun led to climate changes, resulting in crop failures and famine. The roar of the eruption was likely heard on Crete, causing panic among residents whose once thriving cities were suddenly threatened. However, this is not the only theory. Some historians suggest the possibility of a Mycenaean invasion, which could have taken advantage of the Minoans' weakened state after the volcanic catastrophe. Internal social conflicts and power struggles may also have played a role in the fall of this great civilization. If we look at archaeological findings, such as destroyed palaces and charred artifacts, it appears that the Minoans faced multiple threats simultaneously. By the end of the 2nd millennium BCE, the once glorious and powerful Minoan civilization was on the brink of extinction. On the remote island of Easter, surrounded by the boundless expanses of the Pacific Ocean, stand the Moai, monumental statues that reach heights of 10 meters and weigh up to 80 tons. These stone giants, carved from volcanic tuff, are not only impressive in size, but also in their distinctive features: massive heads with long noses and expressive faces that seem to gaze into the distance, penetrating the essence of time. The statues are located along the coast, especially on the Ahu platform, which served as a kind of altar for venerating ancestors. The most famous Moai are found on the eastern coast, where they can be seen against the backdrop of the churning ocean, with waves crashing against the stone formations, creating a captivating sound that underscores the atmosphere of isolation and mystery. However, the mystery of how these statues were transported from the quarries to the coast remains a subject of debate among researchers. One popular theory suggests that the island's inhabitants used logs as rollers to move the giants, but studies indicate that this method would require significant resources and time. Other scientists propose that the Moai could have walked, swaying from side to side, allowing them to move across land without the need for complex machinery. The wind that caresses the stern faces of the statues creates the impression that they could tell stories about their past, about the culture of the Rapa Nui, which thrived here for many centuries. Despite its isolation, this island holds many secrets related to its history and culture, and each new discovery adds more mysteries to the known facts. In 1967, 81 Moai were moved to Ahu Tongariki, marking an important step in the restoration of cultural monuments. Each statue carries a unique story, and together they form an unparalleled monument to human creativity that continues to fascinate and awe researchers and travelers from around the world.